We'll call the meeting in order. First thing is to adopt the agenda.
So moved. Second?
Motion's been made and seconded to adopt the agenda. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, then we'll move on to item number 2, adopt the agenda.
We just did that.
Yeah.
Well, you did.
Approve the
Oh, okay. Approve the minutes. I'm getting old, you gotta excuse me. Approve the minutes.
I think somebody's got a cell phone too close to the microphone. There you go.
Sorry,
It's weird how it works like that.
I thought I turned it off. Oops. I'll make a motion to approve the minutes. Nobody else wants to approve the minutes?
I'll second that.
Motion's been made and
That's right,
seconded
both
to
you guys were gone.
approve the
And those
minutes.
two are not
Any
here today.
discussion? Pardon?
Sorry.
It was a long time ago.
Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, then we'll move on to item number 4, park financial information.
We, our finance department doesn't have the year-end stuff together yet, but this is where we were at the end of, this was December 31st. There's a few other things that still have to get billed back to 2019, but for park maintenance, we were at 99%, so we came just under budget. Had $30,000 to spare. We kind of look at both of these two together because a lot of these intermingle between streets and parks. A lot of the same equipment, a lot of the same employees, but overall, both of them came in just about on budget. That's the closest we've been in since I've been here, to going over the budget, so.
There was a lot of plowing in 2019.
Yeah, last spring and this fall yet, yep. That was probably the biggest part of it. We took over half our salt order already for this year, which went on last year's budget, so. So that's where that's at. Turned out, oh, okay. I think citywide, what was that on here? Just about dead even at 100%. $5.5 million.
Is that your dream home?
Yes.
In the Alps?
He has that already, he just doesn't tell us.
He doesn't want to
That's a
brag.
summer home.
So do we need to do anything with this thing?
No, that's just informational, you don't have to prove that. Hopefully, I can get you a complete updated one at the next meeting, but basically, we're on par for our budget for the year. We might have to look at maybe bumping it up a little bit next year if we're getting that close. Everything gets more expensive each year, so.
Well, and we had a lot of repairs on equipment too this year, didn't we? Or-
Yeah, pretty average,
Okay.
yep. A couple of our insurance claims come out of that come back into the budget in the general fund that don't show up on there too. Those are generally pretty big items on there.
Anybody have any more questions on the financial?
No.
Nice job.
Okay.
We did an awesome job. We kept under budget.
Yeah.
We should pat ourselves on the back.
I was already
Do
picking
a
up
pretty nice job on
when
that.
I came, because according to the November council meetings, we got 2 more park commissioners.
We did?
Yeah, there was a misprint in the city council minutes.
Oh, I looked at that, but I guess it didn't
The
register.
agenda and the packet was correct, but something got changed.
I only looked to see if I was reapproved. That's all I
Yeah.
cared about.
They had our 2 road commissioners listed as park commissioners on there, so
Ah,
Ron Kohler and Tom Ike were approved for the park commission too.
So we need a bigger table.
Oh, yeah, could just add on.
Okay, then we'll move on to item number 5. athletic facility request.
Item 5.0, consider approval of the 2020 athletic field reservation requests. The City of East Bethel has received ball field requests for regular weeknight use from Soderville Blaine Athletic Association, St. Francis Youth Baseball, St. Francis Fast Pitch, and Minnesota Snowcats, as well as 3 weekend tournaments. And we've actually just received another one, so we actually have 4 weekend tournaments that came in here the other day. It wasn't included in the packet. SBAA is requesting the use of fields 1 through 8 at Booster West and East from April 13th to this July 16th, 4 nights a week and a few Fridays and Saturdays. St. Francis Youth Baseball is requesting 2 fields a night on Tuesdays and Thursdays from April 1st to July 19th. St. Francis Fast Pitch is requesting 2 fields on Tuesdays and Thursdays from May 1st to June 30th. And the Minnesota Snowcats are requesting 2 fields a night on Tuesdays and Thursdays from May 28th to July 25th, and 1 field from July 25th to October 24th. So we've included all of them, and you can see on there that all the teams wanted on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So what we've done in the past is we've given them all 1 field. This is the matrix that I use for lining up who gets ball fields. So the yellow is SBAA. I think there's a key. It's back at the beginning. Green is St. Francis Youth Baseball, St. Francis Fast Pitch. And the Rum River Rovers is a vintage baseball team. They only use it for 1 weekend. But as we get into the middle of the season, you can see we've got 4 different teams on Tuesdays and Thursdays. So we give each organization 1 of the fields on the fourplex and 1 of the fields on the other 4 fields that aren't irrigated. And that's seemed to appease everybody so far. It looks like we're probably gonna have to do that again this year. And then we also have the baseball field, which we've gotten a few requests on. We're still working on how that's gonna work.
Do we think that'll be available this year?
Yep.
Okay, cool.
It will be playable, good.
Yep. Grass was coming in pretty good last fall. We're gonna give it some more fertilizer and maybe an overseed in the spring, and it should be good to go. It drains really nice. We're just having a hard time getting turf established in our sand out there.
Well, with the rain we had last summer, you should have had good chance.
Well, I think what happened was it actually got overwatered. We had a bunch of moss
Oh.
growing out there that was too damp all the time.
You said you have a 4th group for a weekend?
Yeah, so St. Francis Youth Baseball put in a request to the Minnesota Sports Federation for it'll be the biggest tournament that the city's ever hosted for. It'll be July 24th. Let's see, July, where did I see that? All right, here, July 24th to the 26th. It'll be the weekend after Booster Day with, he's got 385 participants, but if they do get this tournament, it sounds like it's gonna be maybe a 5-year commitment. And they're gonna purchase, if they do get the tournament, they're gonna purchase temporary outfield fences. We've got 4 of them that we use for the Booster West complex, but they want them for all 8 fields. And they would donate them to the city then,
So
and
they'd buy another 4 sets.
they'd buy another 4 sets. We'd have 8 of them
Oh, that'd be
total.
awesome.
That would make the fields a lot more usable for a lot of these tournaments too.
Right.
They're a lot of work to put up and take down and keep track of, but most of the time
Those 200 foot that they're looking for?
yep,
also?
200 feet, yep,
So it's not because the ones that we've got now are at 200 foot.
correct, yep.
That'd be nice. I
Yeah.
don't know what kind of shape the ones we've currently got. I know that St. Francis Fast Pitch donated them.
They donated those, correct, yep.
10 or 15 years ago.
Yeah, just out of curiosity, and not that I'm proposing anything, but when was the last time we raised our rates for our fields?
We haven't raised them for a long time. Yep,
Forever.
I was gonna say that must have been before I got on here.
before I was here, we haven't raised them since I've been here.
Yeah, it's been
How
a
long
while.
has that been?
I know,
How long have you been on the commission, Denise?
This will be my
10 years?
4th term, so.
12 years? 10, 12 years?
Okay. Oh my goodness.
I know we did a study 1 year for, SAA,
Yeah, I remember that when we were
To decide.
meeting with them and
right.
looking at contracts and,
Trying to decide if what we were charging at that time was reasonable for what it was costing us.
Yep.
I don't know if, I'm sure our costs have gone up since then. I don't know that anybody's ever looked at it since.
something we could take a look at, and we haven't really, we don't make a lot of money on it, we don't,
About break even.
yeah, we wanna keep the fees for families as low as possible to,
Right,
to play,
right.
and get as many kids on the fields as we can. That's kind of the whole goal of having the parks. I think I have in the write-up that we spend,
6,500.
yeah. That's what we kind of figure annual cost is with, for our, what we do is we set up the fields. They provide the chalk, but we do a lot of the chalking for the games. So that's our cost to mow, drag the fields, and any upkeep on the fences, that kind of stuff.
I don't know what's gonna happen when Dallas leaves, but Dallas always had those fields looking,
So
When you walk
where
down
is
there, you
pride
felt
and
like you
joy,
were-
so.
Yep.
yep.
He's planning on retiring, so we got another guy we're grooming.
That's what he told me, that he was leaving. I said,
You keep saying that.
I know, he keeps saying it, and I'm like, you'll still be around.
Yeah, well,
He seems pretty sure this time, but he keeps saying it.
He'll be at the baseball fields anyway.
yeah, I'm sure he'll still be around helping out. He volunteers at the
Well, he's
Lions.
not quitting the Lions either, so.
He'll be working at the recycling center.
No, we'll still have to put up with him. So, but no, he always made sure those fields looked like, I mean,
Yep.
you walk down there, they look like they belonged there.
Every Wednesday, they got mowed.
Got a lot of compliments on him from the,
And-
All over, every city that, when we had our tournaments and stuff, talked about how great our fields were, so he did a good job.
We always got that when I ran the weekend tournament, that they just couldn't believe what we had. So,
Nate, you said it was the St. Francis Youth Baseball that was donating the fences?
if they get the tournament, yeah.
If they get the tournament and the commitment is a 5-year,
They-
so.
That's what Matt Herzog, who's on our fire department, he's leading the, kind of the charge for it. That's what they're hoping, is they're looking for some place where they can keep it year after year that works for them, so,
You know,
well,
I
it
don't
doesn't
know,
conflict with anything else we've got, does it?
no.
does it set a precedence though that if they donate equipment, that then next year they're gonna say, well, we want more fields or we want different
No.
fields?
St. Francis Fast Pitch donated equipment in the past, and it
Okay.
was just,
Yeah,
Okay. I just wanna make sure
SBA has
that we
donated
don't get
money.
into a spot
Yeah.
where we have to give a,
no, usually what happens is somebody like that
it's a good question, though.
needs that for, like, when Fast Pitch donated the fences, we needed it for a tournament.
Yep.
We wanted to have a state tournament here, we had to have the fences. We didn't have any place to store them or manage them.
right,
The city said, okay, if you buy them, we'll keep them.
sure.
So it's like, okay, here you go.
Yeah.
And with
No,
the-
I'm all for it, I just wanna make sure that we're
Yeah.
not saying that
Yeah.
next year then
Quid pro
they
quo.
get the 4 irrigated fields and, you know.
Yep.
And the
That's
fields
all.
that I remember from St. Francis Youth Baseball, and I don't know when Max played, if he played for St. Francis Youth
Yeah.
Baseball, some of those fields were underwater.
Oh,
Like
they
if it
were-
rained, it was
yeah.
complete
terrible.
washout and they had to stop playing.
Yep.
It was,
Okay.
so we have the advantage here, I think.
Yeah, but there's other organizations that have donated.
Yep.
Equipment, and like I said, mostly it comes down to those organizations they don't have a garage.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a big part of it.
They don't have any place to keep any of this stuff.
We've
Okay.
kicked around the idea of building a storage over someplace over in Booster West. We have to redo that building for the pump house at some point,
Right.
maybe creating some storage where we could keep that stuff on site.
The
Make it
one that the
easier.
little kids think is haunted.
Oh, yeah.
That's all.
I'm
Never
like,
heard that
that
one.
is not a haunted building. That's not what we heard.
I think that'd be great if these guys can get that tournament.
Yeah,
You know, any of that just gives more exposure to the city in general. And it uses the park at a time when it's not really being used.
Yep.
So,
and it brings people into local businesses. I know it's not a huge portion, but I'm sure Subway gets a lot more, and the local restaurants get a lot more people eating up here. And
oh, yeah.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Is there, any type of, like, agreement or, like, resolution that the city council accepts those donations, so it's like something is in writing?
Yep,
Okay.
for every donation, it goes as a resolution to city council. So like the down at Coon Lake Beach, they donated some money for new playground equipment there. It had to be accepted by the city council through resolution set aside for that purpose.
Okay, so kind of in reference to Bill, to your comment, then there is something in writing stating, like, we're getting this.
Yep.
Good.
And no one's pressured us so far to get preference because they donated.
Great.
Well, it usually means you got, as an organization, it means you got something from it also. I mean, when we did
Yeah.
it as
Yeah.
softball,
Yeah.
we got a state tournament, which in turn, we made money on because of concessions.
Right.
Right, yeah.
So, you know, those kind of things are really good for an organization because it helps keep costs for the kids the next year. You know, the next year the kids, instead of having to pay $300, can pay $100 to play.
Yeah.
And you try to keep it that way, and you do those tournaments and things like that for those purposes.
Yep.
So they're well worth the time for the organization, and I think they're good for us. So,
Yeah, so on this schedule would be this weekend here. Once we get to Booster Day, everything pretty much shuts down in the park, so.
yeah, until fall, there's a little bit of fall ball going
Yeah,
on.
the Snowcats use the field kind of throughout the fall.
So, you think you're good with the matrix as far as,
Well, if the park commission wants to accept the applications and recommend going with the same formula that everybody gets one field like we've done in the past, I can put together the matrix then for this year and send it out to them.
yeah, because I know it looks like SAA asked for all of them, Monday
Yeah.
through Thursday.
I think every year they ask for all of
I
them.
think they
Yep.
do that just automatically, yeah.
So what they used to do is they would take them all and then they would sublease them out to these other organizations. So that's all it was when I started here. Well, they were paying us, then the other organizations were paying them. It was just kind of a goofy way to do it. And some
I
of
knew
the,
the president back then, that makes sense.
yeah,
How do you want that motion worded? Because I think we should go forward with this. I like the idea of the way that he's got it split up currently, if you can make that work for next year or for 2020. I think it's a good idea. It sounds like you're keeping everybody a little bit happy.
yeah.
Which, that's how it's supposed to work.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah, you can't always be happy, so as long as you keep everybody a little bit happy, and I think it looks like it works.
Yeah. I try and talk them into going Monday, Wednesday, but nobody wants to.
I think
Well,
because it conflicts
that's
with a
the-
lot of
That's the legal application.
things that
Yeah.
happen on Wednesday nights with kids with confirmation.
Yeah,
and-
and like, yeah, that's the league, they can't change it, that's where their league's set up.
I'm not sure how you want that worded, but I'd make a motion that we go forward with the proposal with, taking care of all these organizations on the dates that they're asking for, based on being able to put together a matrix similar to next year, or last year's.
Okay.
I'll
Does that
second
sound-
that.
Yeah, I have it based on a matrix drafted by Nate.
Very good. Thanks for wording that correctly.
Very elegant.
Thanks for your expertise,
She's able to decipher me.
your mail talk.
Hey, no.
Okay, so we have a motion.
I'll second.
Okay, I have one, discussion on the motion. I see on, St. Francis Fast Pitch, they've got 2019, that doesn't make any difference, does it?
Oh, on their
On the date?
application? Yeah, it's probably a typo on there.
You know,
On their
they've
end.
got 5/1 to
I bet they copied last year's.
2019.
They're probably just guesstimating too, because nobody signed up for it yet. I don't think registration's going on right now.
I don't know which particular, if it was the tournament or the regular weeknights that you're referring to. They had two different guys that filled out applications.
Looks like Matt Anderson.
Was that the weeknight one or the?
Yeah, it's a weeknight one.
I bet he copied.
I can get that changed, I'm sure it was, yeah.
Okay,
Thanks for catching that.
Yeah, that's good.
This is good catch.
okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Ayes have it. Okay, and then move on to item number 6. You have anything, Nate?
Suzanne Urkel is our new council liaison, I see she's not here tonight, I don't know if Tim's got anything he wants to add in to from the city council? Yeah,
We'd appreciate it.
We haven't had an actual meeting, we've had just a work meeting on Monday, so. But first, I just want to thank you guys for everything you did. 2019 was a big year for the city. I think 2020 is gonna look right up there too. We got, on the meeting Monday, we had a discussion on a MOU for the Eldridge Group. They're gonna develop the east side of 65 and 22, commercial townhouses and single-family homes, so there'll be some more park dedication fees coming in.
East side of 65.
Yeah, right next to the golf course, right in the corner there.
Oh, I think we looked at that.
Yep.
Didn't we look at that one?
Yeah, and then they're gonna build that service road out to 22 from 187, so that'd be nice. And then, I'm trying to think, I think in February, a discussion came up, having like a joint work session with you guys. You know, make sure everybody's on the same page. I guess there was, you know, there was some talk that city council wasn't doing what, you know, the Parks Commission was talking about, so we're gonna, you know, that's what they're looking at for February, is if you guys are available at the February work meeting.
so we were bouncing off you guys, see what your thoughts were. We do our park commission meeting at the work meeting on February, must be the February 3rd. So it'll be the day after the Vikings win the Super Bowl.
I don't know why everybody's laughing.
And we'll have, we'll probably start 15 minutes early with the park commission, because we have to do the swearing in of the new members that got their appointments reappointed. And then elect a chair, so we'll take care of that stuff right away, and then we'll do a joint meeting with the,
Yeah, and
if that
lastly,
sounds good. It's a Monday night, so I don't know what your schedules look like, but,
Monday Night Football's over.
yep.
and then lastly, you know, now the apartment building's open, I think they got 31 rooms rented. Cambion Hills they're looking at March, and I think the senior center is either the end of March or first part of April, so be a lot more traffic on that west side over there, so. That's about all I've got.
What one was the other one in March?
Cambion
senior
Hills in March,
center.
and then the seniors, I think it's the end of March or first part of April.
Yeah.
So, but the apartment building's occupied now, they got 31 rooms occupied out of the 68, so.
Can you give them a quick, what you're talking about with the fire auxiliary, what they're discussing anyways? For
For April?
Yeah,
They're looking at, they wanna do a fundraiser, you know, to raise some money for their guys. They're looking at having a craft beer thing across the street in the park at the end of April. And, you know, I brought up, I said, you know, April can still be cold. I mean, we try to get them.
Snow.
Yeah, we try to get them to maybe come along with booster days, but I guess they're too far along. They've already got some commitments from people, so it looks like maybe the end of April that,
at Booster West.
yeah, they'll have craft beers, food trucks, and it's just gonna be some kind of fundraiser, so we'll see what the weather does, but,
Yeah, that's pretty iffy.
yeah.
Is alcohol allowed in our parks?
Yeah, I get a permit,
You get
Yeah,
a
you get a
permit.
You gotta get a permit,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah, we do that with Booster Day.
Booster Day has it.
for the Lions, they do that, a one-day permit.
And then January 25th is the auxiliary waffle breakfast.
Waffle breakfast, yeah. Station 1, 8 to 11.
That was good last year.
Yeah, those aren't any good. You gotta have at least 4 or 5 of them, to try them out.
Well, we want 400 this year, so everybody's gotta come.
Parking is at a premium, so you wanna get a good spot, you gotta get it there.
And there'll be a helicopter, if weather permitting, they're gonna bring a helicopter in.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah,
Cool.
so.
I think you should get a van to transport people from a parking area if it's that prime.
Well, they got their meeting next Tuesday, I can bring it up, I'll bring it up to them.
A shuttle?
Well, like a shuttle from, I don't know where though, where would you shuttle them from, the school, maybe you can park up at the school and bring them down?
Well, how
If
about
the school lets you
recycling
park in
center?
there?
Yeah, the well, they
Well,
do park at the recycling
We
center.
plow that off, all the grass, they park all over in there,
Oh, you do, okay.
yeah.
What about the old church?
See, the only thing with the recycling, isn't that the same weekend they recycle, that last Saturday?
The last Saturday.
So the recycling center's gonna kind of be a zoo too, so.
What about the,
Oh,
what
yeah.
is it, the driver's ed now, that used to be our saviors?
Oh, it's a
Oh,
school.
that's a school.
Oh, it's a, oh, I thought it was.
Well, that's, I mean, up at the school there, park up at the school and
Yeah,
get a shuttle bus and bring them down.
Oh, you're talking about that school, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
right up 22 there. I mean, that's a close.
I was gonna say, if we
talk.
talked to Harley about the shuttle, but you can't bring that shuttle, his wagon on, 22.
Yeah. They fit everybody last year, but if they're gonna have that many more,
Like I said, I'm bringing, they got their meeting next Tuesday, so.
yeah.
Well,
Something to
people
discuss
people
with
come and go too.
What's that?
People
Well,
come
people
and
do
go.
come and go, but some people like to stay too. So,
That's a true story.
but I'm looking forward to working with you guys in 2020 again. It'll be, like I said, I think it's gonna be another good year for the city, so. Maybe we'll get these, paths and all, you know, walking trails and all this stuff. Maybe we'll get something rolling here.
That would be nice. That's the number one thing I get talked to about is bike trails.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to ride their bike, not on the road.
Yep.
Mhm. And we never did finish that one little segment.
We got it, we got our engineers working on it. We're gonna bid it out probably this summer or
Is
spring.
that the one over by?
Baton.
Oh, okay.
The problem we had with all three of them is wetlands. We found out,
Everywhere.
Oak Brook Acres is basically considered all wetland in there, so they don't even want us to mow it.
Hmm.
So we're still working with the,
To get that walking path.
yeah,
Mm,
they want us to do a boardwalk across the whole thing, which would be
That's a lot of
a lot
maintenance.
of money and
Yeah.
maintenance.
That's all I got. Thanks, Tim.
Thanks,
Thank
Tim.
you, Tim.
Thank you.
We'll send you the check for being a liaison.
Thanks for being our proxy.
You have anything more, Nate?
I don't think I do.
Entertain the
Motion to
motion to adjourn.
Second.
All third.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
That's the fastest meeting ever.
I
It
thank
beat
you
our
for
last
being
one when you
patient
guys
with
weren't
me.
here.
Yeah.